You're standing in a NASCAR Cup Series garage at 11 p.m. The race ended 2 hours ago. The haulers are half-packed. And a veteran, crew chief, a man who has won championships, who has forgotten more about oval racing than most people will ever learn, pulls a journalist aside and says 6 of the words that nobody expected to hear tonight. If he figures out the long runs, we're all in trouble. That crew chief wasn't talking about a Hendrick driver. He wasn't talking about a Gibbs car. He was talking about someone the garage spent 2 years dismissing. Someone they laughed at. Someone they called a road ringer. And tonight, on a 33-mile concrete oval, that road ringer just sent a warning shot through the entire Cup Series establishment. We are closing in on 1,000 subscribers here at NASCAR Racing Central, and if you've been watching SVG's journey this closely, now is the time. Hit subscribe, drop a like, and share this video. Real NASCAR fans know what's coming, and you don't want to miss it. For 2 full years, the garage operated on a single assumption. Shane Van Gisbergen was a road course specialist, dangerous on street circuits, irrelevant on ovals. That belief had numbers behind it. Through the first half of 2025, SVG's oval average finish hovered around 24th. Ross Chastain averaged a 20th. Daniel Suarez was sitting at 24th. The entire Trackhouse Racing oval program was struggling to compete. The Southern Hemisphere fan base was already asking hard questions. Whispers from the Australian and New Zealand press about spring rates, sway bars, and ride heights that didn't match Chastain's car setup data. At Trackhouse Faithful on X put it plainly. Everybody laughed when Trackhouse brought SVG over. SVG himself never fired back publicly. His public response every single time. I've got to learn. The car's fine, I've got to learn. That is the context. That is how low expectations were. Then came May 31st, a concrete oval. A race where road ringers are supposed to survive, not compete. Trackhouse rolled the dice at the lap 41 caution, calling SVG in for just 2 tyres. The His 97 cycled to the lead, and then he held off Kyle Larson, not for 1 lap, not for 2, but for 12 consecutive laps. Larson is widely regarded as the most complete oval driver of his generation. At Oval Veteran Fan on X wrote, "The moment he went wheel to wheel with Larson and never blinked, I knew we're not watching a typical rookie anymore." At NASCAR Critic added, "Road ringers don't finish 5th at Nashville while battling the best oval racers in the world." The final result, P5. SVG's first Cup Series top 5 on an oval. And that is when the crew chief said what he said. And that is when the garage stopped laughing. What made Nashville Superspeedway specifically so revealing comes down to a technical rurality that the mainstream NASCAR conversation largely ignored. SVG carries a right-foot braking technique developed through years of supercars competition. Max Verstappen noticed it. Dale Earnhardt Jr. spent podcast segments breaking it down. On road courses, everyone already understood why it worked. Trail braking, rotation, surgical throttle return. But Nashville's concrete surface eats rubber. By lap 40, the right rear is greasy. Drivers are managing throttle on entry as much as on the brake. SVG's natural feel for slip angle, the precise skill set that made him a 3-time Supercars champion, is exactly what a worn tyre concrete oval demands on long runs. At race engineer Mike stated, "The scary part for competitors is that the driver doesn't appear to be the limitation anymore. When the balance was there, the speed was there." At Concrete Oval expert added, "Nashville rewards patience, tyre management and feel. Those happen to be 3 of SVG's biggest strengths." Then SVG explained it himself in his own post-race words. "I learned to be comfortable moving around in turns 1 and 2, which I've never been able to do before." He is no longer locked into one line. He is reading the track and finding grip in places his spotter didn't even call. That is not a rookie learning. That is a champion adapting. The race strategy itself made the case even more clearly. 2 tyres at the lap 41 caution, SVG leads, holds Larson for 12 laps. 4 tyres, the car goes tight, balance disappears, he falls back. 2 tyres again, balance returns, SVG cuts back through traffic, finishes P5. The pattern is undeniable. Every single time the car was balanced, the speed was elite. At Chevy Paddock confirmed, Nashville wasn't a fluke strategy finish. The pace was legitimate. At Racing Analytics went further. SVG led laps, managed tyre wear, adapted to changing conditions and finished inside the top 5. That's a complete oval performance, not a lucky result. At Race Hub Critic added, "The most impressive thing wasn't leading laps. It was recovering after the setup changed and still finding a way back to the front. Which raises the question the garage is now quietly asking. If a single-car Trackhouse oval program, in a season where Chastain and Suarez are averaging 20th and 24th, can produce this pace when the setup window is hit, what is being left on the table every single week? The garage reaction to Nashville was immediate. At DaleJR Download noted that searching for grip on long runs is typically the last skill a newcomer develops. At Pit Road Reporter reported that crew chiefs were saying the quiet part out loud. The talent was never the question. At Cup Series Insider called it the first race where SVG looked like an actual Cup Series contender on an oval. At Garage Talk Live stated that if SVG begins stacking top 10s on intermediates, the championship conversation changes completely. At NASCAR Hot Takes put it most directly. The garage should be worried, not because SVG finished 5th, because he finished 5th and still has obvious room to improve. The establishment is being forced to reckon with something they assumed was years away. Trackhouse Racing gave SVG his shot. Justin Marks deserves that credit fully, and that loyalty is real and documented. But the numbers remain what they are. Chastain at 20th, Suarez at 24th, a program that on ovals is by the data, butter knife at a gunfight against the wind tunnel perfect Chevys coming out of Hendrick and the millimeter-dialed equipment at Joe Gibbs Racing. At Short Track Scout observed, SVG is starting to trust what the car is doing underneath him. That's when elite drivers become dangerous. The setup data whispers from earlier in the season. Spring rates, sway bars, ride heights were never fully explained. And if Nashville happened, despite that gap in oval infrastructure, the question of what is being left on the table every week remains very much open. Remember what that crew chief said at 11 p.m. with the haulers half-packed. That quote didn't come from nowhere. Then there is the shadow hanging over all of it. 23XI Racing, Michael Jordan's outfit, back-to-back wins to Ope 2026. Tyler Reddick leading points. Toyota money, JGR simulator cycles, full championship caliber infrastructure. Multiple paddock sources have reported informal inquiries about a certain New Zealander. The picture being painted explicitly in those conversations. Reddick, Wallace, Van Gisbergen, a 3-car Toyota lineup sharing data every single week. At Bubba Nation 23 on X said if 23XI ever landed SVG, that lineup would be terrifying. Reddick, Bubba and SVG sharing data every week? Good luck everyone else. At Toyota Rumour Mill added, hearing more and more chatter around SVG's future. Nothing concrete, but if he keeps producing results like Nashville, every major team in the garage will be interested. SVG's contract with Trackhouse is multi-year. Nobody is signing anything tomorrow. But the longer the oval infrastructure gap exists, and the longer Nashville-level performances go unsupported by championship-caliber oval equipment, the louder those conversations will get. And right now, somewhere in the NASCAR garage, that conversation is already happening. If this breakdown gave you something the mainstream NASCAR coverage missed, share it with someone who needs to see it. Drop a comment below telling us, is SVG already a legitimate oval contender, or does he still need another full season to prove it? And subscribe to NASCAR Racing Central right now. We are on the edge of 1,000, and the content coming next is worth being here for. If you enjoy real NASCAR breakdowns like this, you'll like what's coming next.